Welcome back to Fantasy Hockey Picks and Bets on the Mayo Media Network for January 12th. So Wednesdays in the NHL mean less games. We got 3 on the schedule. We were supposed to have 5. Well, technically we were supposed to have 4. Boston at Montreal got canceled, but hey, we have Montreal at Boston. So with the attendance restrictions in Canada, this game's in Boston. Going to be made up at a later date for the one in Montreal. So we still have that game on the slate. Minnesota at Edmonton canceled, partially due to attendance restrictions, partially due because Edmonton has COVID issues. Of course, if Connor McDavid can't play, the Edmonton Oilers can't compete. No one wants to watch them, so they had to cancel that game for obvious reasons. So what we have is 3 games on the slate. We're going to go through them right away. Before we get started, if you could like and rate the show wherever you are watching and or listening. If you're on YouTube, leave a comment with your favorite game of the night. 3 potential blowouts, so whichever game you think is going to be the biggest blowout, leave a comment below on what that game is going to be. And again, I'm Cecil Peters. You can follow me on Twitter at CeacePete's if you want. If not, feel free not to. Probably the right call. Let's get on with the games. We got the Montreal Canadiens at the Boston Bruins. We got the Seattle Kraken at the Dallas Stars. And we have the Toronto Maple Leafs at the Arizona Coyotes. Montreal-Boston, the first game of the night. Boston, one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. Montreal, one of the worst. What does that mean? Well, basically it means we can't bet the game at its money line odds unless you think Montreal is going to win. I personally don't, so that is irrelevant to me. Boston is just too good. They're scoring tons of goals. They're keeping pucks out of their net. They don't allow a ton of chances. When they do, just like last game, Patrice Bergeron slides in behind the goalie, makes some saves of their own. So even when they're getting their goaltending, which is their biggest issue, when that's letting them down, Patrice Bergeron's there, backing the goalies up. Additionally, this doesn't affect anything tonight, but the Boston Bruins appear to have Tuukka Rask coming back soon. So goaltending, which, as I said, I don't even want to say it's been a weakness for them because it hasn't been horrible. Their guys have decent numbers. They're playing okay. About a 920 save percentage for both. But playing behind the Boston Bruins, a 920 save percentage is kind of like a 900 save percentage elsewhere just because Boston doesn't give up very many good chances. Their goalies are expected to stop a lot more shots. Now they got Tuukka Rask likely coming back in the mix. He's with the AHL team on a tryout right now, but it's kind of been a wink-wink, nudge-nudge agreement since the start of the year that once he is healthy and recovered from his hip surgery, he's happy to come back to the Bees on a team-friendly contract. Great move by Tuukka, chasing the cup. No better place to do it than in Boston. He plays for cheap, allows them to keep everything intact and get an elite top-flight goalie at minimal risk because they do have Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman in the wings if he isn't ready to come back from injury. That's just kind of looking forward for the Boston Bruins, how their season's going to go. Either way, they've been dominant lately. They really switched up their lines, which is something they have been hesitant to do over the past few years, but they put David Pastrnak with Erik Haula and Taylor Hall. Pasta is scoring now. 2 goals last game, 2 goals the night before. Pasta's a guy who gets hot. He didn't score a single goal in all of December. Now in January, he's firing a ton of pucks at the net. He misses the net a ton. He'll take 10 shot attempts in a game, sometimes only get 3 or 4 shots. But he shoots the puck a ton. When he hits the net, it often goes in. Pastrnak to score, one of my favorite bets on the night. He's a guy we ride when he's hot. Their top line, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron sticking together. They got Craig Smith with them now. That line, even with Craig Smith instead of Pastrnak, same metrics they've always had. They look unbelievable in the defensive zone. They look unbelievable in the offensive zone. They create a ton of chances. They take a ton of shots. All these guys are viable for the 5-shot bonus on DraftKings every single night. So these guys are great options on DraftKings, great options for shot props. And against Montreal, who hasn't played in a while, who basically has given up on the season because their team is that bad, pretty good chance for the Bruins to score a ton of goals. I like Boston to win, and I like Patrice Bergeron over, Brad Marchand over, David Pastrnak over, and Pastrnak to score. Those are all the bets that I am interested in making. Obviously, I record this the day before, so I'm not 100% sure what the odds on those props are yet, but those are the ones I will be most interested in looking at tomorrow. Next game on the night is in Dallas, the Seattle Kraken facing the Dallas Stars. Seattle almost pulled off the upset win over Colorado. They were up 3-1 at one point, but it really never felt like they were going to win that game. Betting Colorado live when they were down 2 goals was almost a lock. Love that bet. Now Seattle goes to Dallas. Dallas is awesome, especially at home. They just lost to the St. Louis Blues. They had a 1-0 lead going into the end of regulation, 1 minute left. They give up a power play goal. They take another penalty. They give up another power play goal in the span of about a minute. So they get the loss against the Blues in the game. They probably, you can argue, they should have won. Back at home, they're a different story. Their top line buzzes at home. Jason Robertson, Roope Hintz, Joe Pavelski. They had a stretch where they were scoring in the first minute of the game almost every single night. That was absurd. It obviously hasn't continued, but they still seem to score every game, especially at home. Probably my favorite DraftKings play on the night is the Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski line. Hintz shots, Robertson shots if you can find it. On defense, they got a couple great options. John Klingberg and Miro Heiskanen are firing a ton of pucks on net. Klingberg's on the power play with some of the top guns. Heiskanen just plays a ton of minutes, racks up shots, racks up blocks. One of the best players in the entire National Hockey League. I would say he is, with Roope Hintz, the best player on this Dallas Stars team. Gives them a lot of promise going into the future. Dallas probably going to go with Jake Ottinger in net. I was concerned against St. Louis that they went with Braden Holtby. Didn't matter. Holtby and Ottinger battling it out for the number one spot right now, and that's paying off great for Dallas because they're both playing exceptionally well. I hope we see Ottinger here. I think he's the guy that they want as their starter. He's younger, he's bigger, doesn't play as much of a crazy game as Holtby. Holtby is always flopping around the ice, laying down, making the impossible looking saves. Ottinger, big guy, just stands in the net, makes the calm, easy save. He's the guy I expect to see in this game, although that's not confirmed as I record this. Regardless, Seattle, not going to score a ton of goals. I lean towards the under here just because Dallas probably won't push the pace offensively if they don't have to. Their top line will score. That'll be about it. If you are looking for a bit of a deeper to score prop, a guy with 2 goals in his last 3 games is Denis Gurianov. Hockey, as we say so often, is a game of momentum. These guys, once they score in bunches. Gurianov, no stranger to that. So he is a good option to score. Probably you'll find him around plus 300 if interested. And Dallas to win. Probably going to take Dallas in regulation to make the odds a little bit better because, like I said, all the games today, pretty lopsided odds. Makes it hard to bet without getting creative. Last game of the night is in Arizona. The Toronto Maple Leafs, after a game in Vegas the night before, go to Arizona to play against the Coyotes. Another game with a heavy favorite, as Toronto is obviously much more likely to win this game than the Arizona Coyotes. I assume Toronto goes with the backup goalie. I am recording this before their game against Vegas, but my assumption is that they played Jack Campbell in that one, meaning the backup goes here, Peter Mrazek. Not that it makes a difference. They should beat the Arizona Coyotes regardless. The one area to target for the Coyotes is Clayton Keller. He's still shooting the puck a ton. I believe he had 7 shots last game. He had a goal. If you want to take him to score, you want to take him over 2.5 shots. Both of those are great options. Other than that, there is just not a lot to like on the Arizona side, especially against a strong Toronto team. Austin Matthews, once again, should take a ton of shots in this game. Hometown game for him. He's playing with Michael Bunting and Andre Kasha. Second line, John Tavares, William Nylander, Alex Kerfoot back on that line. Both of those great options on DraftKings. Both of those great options to score, to take a ton of shots. Either way, the Toronto Maple Leafs should have no problem with this game. They do allow a few goals, and Arizona has been scoring lately, so I don't mind the over in this game as well. So Toronto to win, Clayton Keller shots, Austin Matthews shots, Austin Matthews to score, and then Toronto probably in regulation as well. All solid options for this game. Like I said, with it being such a lopsided line, there just isn't a ton of great ways to bet it and try to find plus money. So for the games tonight, we have Dallas over Seattle, Boston over Montreal, and Toronto over Arizona. Nothing crazy, no huge underdogs that stick out. I do love a good underdog bet, but I'm not just going to make one for the sake of making one. So if you want to get some plus money tonight, parlay Boston in regulation, Dallas in regulation, and Toronto in regulation, and try to make some money that way. Other than that, we'll move on. Bigger slate tomorrow. Jake will walk you through that one. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you guys next week.